Alright, so this is my presentation on autotrophy and heterotrophy. Alright, so number one, heterotrophy refers to those organisms that must get their energy from other organisms. Oh shit, true. Two, cellular respiration is the conversion of carbohydrate to usable energy. Alright, number three, primary conductors are the organisms that create energy-rich compounds. Four, photosynthesis is a process of converting light energy into carbon dioxide. False is the process of using light energy to produce carbs. Number five, photosynthesis is the production of high energy compounds from light and low energy compounds. Respiration is the release of energy from high energy compounds as they convert into low energy compounds. True. Six, chemosynthesis is similar to photosynthesis because it uses sunlight, but different because it doesn't produce carbs. False, it's similar because it produces carbs from inorganic compounds. And this is my video.
Okay, so the topic of this video is going to be some of the basic differences in how organisms get their energy. There's two broad categories of how organisms get their energy on Earth. Organisms are either called heterotrophs or autotrophs. All life needs energy, but how they get their energy is a little different.
I'm recording my video right now.
So let's start with the autotrophs.
Dude, like if you
So autotrophs, when you look at the basic definition of an autotroph, they are organisms that can make their own energy. Now there's two kinds of autotrophs. However, one of them we're more familiar with, and one might be a little mysterious. So the first type of autotroph I'd like to mention are called photoautotrophs. These are the ones that use sunlight to do
Let me
photosynthesis.
restart this.
Plants are a great example. Okay, so the topic of this video is going to be some of the basic differences in how organisms get their energy. There's two broad categories of how organisms get their energy on Earth. Organisms are either called heterotrophs or autotrophs. All life needs energy, but how they get their energy is a little different from one another. So let's start with the autotrophs. So autotrophs, when you look at the basic definition of an autotroph, they are organisms that can make their own energy. Now there's two kinds of autotrophs. However, one of them we're more familiar with, and one might be a little mysterious. So the first type of autotroph I have to mention are called photoautotrophs. These are the ones that use sunlight to do photosynthesis. Plants are a great example. In the animation, you see sunlight, you now also see carbon dioxide gas, and now you also see water. These are the three basic ingredients in a very complex chemical reaction called photosynthesis. And at the end of photosynthesis, what the plant releases, I think we know they release a life-giving gas called oxygen. But that's not the reason why plants and other photoautotrophs do photosynthesis. They do photosynthesis because they're making their energy, they're making their food, they make glucose, which is a type of sugar. And so photosynthesis is how organisms like photoautotrophs, like plants, feed themselves.
Almost.
So plants are probably the most obvious example of photoautotrophs, but there are others. There are other organisms that do photosynthesis. Let's not forget there are some bacteria called cyanobacteria that are photosynthetic autotrophs. And there's algae. Algae are photosynthetic autotrophs. In the picture, these are called diatoms, or diatoms, however you would like to pronounce them. And then there's the second kind of autotroph, the chemoautotrophs. And these are typically bacteria, and it's not all bacteria, but some bacteria, and they do a process called chemosynthesis, and they still produce their own food. They still produce their own energy, they just don't use sunlight. They use chemicals such as methane are involved in a fairly complex chemical reaction, and the product, what's created, is energy for them to use. So autotrophs, whether they're photoautotrophs or autotrophs, autotrophs are often called producers since they produce the energy of the and you can see that the plants at the bottom, the insects, that energy is up in the chain. What about the heterotrophs? So the heterotrophs are kind of just the opposite. These are organisms that cannot make their own energy. They use insects. So they find ways to get energy in other things.
What are you doing?
So,
Are you sick or what?
Oh, what the heck? This is good.
So you're right next to him.
you see another example of the
Where?
So one of the more cute, adorable herbivores, rabbits are a great example because they're called herbivores because they only eat
I'm gonna have
plants.
this music in my
Another
video.
kind would be carnivores. Here we have some wolves on a hunt, and so carnivores, like wolves, only eat other animals. And then there's the organisms that will eat plants or animals. Organisms that eat plants or animals are called omnivores. Bears are a great example. They'll eat fish, they'll eat berries, they'll eat fruits, they'll eat other animals, and so they're a great example of omnivores. Humans are a great example of omnivores as well. And then there's the other kind of heterotroph that we don't usually consider. These are the decomposers. When organisms die, there are nutrients still left in that organism's body, and decomposers will obtain nutrients from dead organisms and eventually cause the organism to decay. A couple categories of decomposer. The first are the decomposers called the detritivores. And like the earthworm, the picture of the earthworm, detritivores ingest and feed on nutrients from dead organisms. However, the other category of decomposers are called saprophytes. They don't ingest, they don't have mouths, they don't have a stomach, but they absorb. They release enzymes onto whatever it is they're growing, and then they absorb those nutrients directly into their cells. And these are called saprophytes. Mushrooms and fungus are a great example of saprophytes. So whether the organism feeds directly or indirectly, whether the heterotroph feeds directly on plants or indirectly, for instance, the frog gets its energy indirectly from the plant because the frog would eat the insect, which ate another insect, which ate a plant. So all life, directly or indirectly, relies on autotrophs for energy. So that's it. That's really the end of this video, but please stay tuned. I would like to acknowledge some of the photographers who made some of these images possible. Next, I would like to thank and acknowledge some of the photographers that allowed the use of their images for this video. Without their graphics and visuals, I don't think the video would be as intriguing.
He did that twice, like 2 semesters in a row. He literally